Preacher, how does your garden grow? With 10 inches of rain, lightning, and a tornado. Yeah, it hadn't been the best of growing seasons. Sometimes you're dry. Well, we're not dry. We've got rain, record amounts of rain, basically, and even over into Oklahoma, which I'm near Oklahoma, so whatever rains in Oklahoma usually hits the Arkansas River and runs by us, and they're calling for it to rise 12 foot between now and Thursday. It's already high, and some predictions are going to say it's higher than the flood of 91, which that was the last flood. We had a bad flood in 15, but 91 we had a real bad flood, and they're saying this one could end up being worse than that. So we did have a tornado Saturday nearby. We drove down in the bottoms when we heard it. You know, that's what rednecks do. If they hear about a tornado, they want to go see it. I've never seen a funnel cloud until Saturday. And we drove. I live in the woods. I mean, you can see behind me. This is what it looks like in the front yard. I can't see a tornado coming. It had my roof off before I could see it. So we decided to drive down in the bottoms where we could see. It's cropland. You can see a long ways. And sure enough, we saw a tornado, and my son took some pictures of it. I was driving, he's taking pictures. The problem was there was so much rain, you couldn't see the funnel cloud good. And then when the rain got to us, there were times we could see the funnel cloud, but when we took pictures of it, the rain was hitting the windows so hard, all the camera was picking up was the windows. But I know it was a tornado because when it started, the rain was hitting me on the driver's side window, and I could see it, and when it got in front of us, the rain was hitting us on the passenger side window. When I say hitting us, I mean that rain was coming like that. It wasn't coming down, it was coming like that. And anyway, it's pretty crazy. I'll roll some pictures in right here. All right, let's have a look at the garden. I want to show you kind of how everything's doing, give you an update, and just kind of some initial, here's what I think so far. So let's recap what we've got and how it's doing. Well, there's the peppers I put in my last garden video, and they're just starting to get up good. We had some bug damage. One of the bell peppers got ate to a stem, and it looks like it's starting to put a couple back. And one of the Numex peppers got ate to a stem. The night we planted it, I came out the next morning, something ate all the leaves. I'm growing broccoli leaves, no heads. I don't know if I'm going to make any broccoli or not. But one thing I am making is cucumbers. We've had 2 or 3 already. I've been saving that one for church. Tomorrow night, that'll go on the salad bar. And these here are the summer dance. Yes, summer dance. They're supposed to be early. It's actually a little bit later. Over here is the sweeter yet on this side. And you can see I got one there just about big enough. Mortgage lifter tomatoes. They were all planted from seed at the same time. And they just were slow starters. These 2 plants here, it may just be that they like warmer weather before they get started. So we'll see. Here are the yellow pears, and of course, got quite a few blooms on them already. I think there's some clusters down in there. Yeah, you can see them. There might even be some tomatoes down in there. Nah. Give you an idea. I don't know if you can see that, but they're about right here on me, and of course I'm 6'4". No, I'm not. I don't know. They may be 3.5 foot tall. Here's the Tasmanian chocolates that are in the containers. You saw me do a video on do-it-yourself container tomatoes, and they've been blooming for a while. These are a determinate variety, so we'll see how they do. I'll tell you what's grown as far as height goes. This is it. These purple Russians. I mean, these are chest high. This one here would be chest high on me. And so would this one on the end. We had one die. I don't know what happened to it. So I planted a yellow sunray in its place. But the purple Russians, yeah, have done real good. And they're blooming good. So are the Arkansas Travelers. they're doing well as well and got blooms on them. So it won't be long. We'll have some tomatoes. Let me show you the other peppers. Well, here, let's look at this blueberry bush. The blueberry bush is cranking. It's usually June before I get any of those, so they're still a little ways out, but you can see the clusters. I mean, that's a cluster of berries right there. And it just seems to be pretty well loaded up. We get over here on the back side. This is a squash, yellow squash. Not getting pollinated very well, so I got some that ain't gonna make, but we've had a couple yellow squash already. Of course, the zucchinis are doing well. We've had several zucchinis already, and we've got several more coming on. Here's the wonderberries. They're about knee-high. They've been blooming for some time, and yeah, if you look down in here, let's see if we can get a look at it. There's some berries. They got to get black before you can eat them. They're not good until they turn black. I've never grown wonderberries. I don't know. You know, from what I've heard, they start putting on towards, they start getting ripe around mid-end of June, and they make berries and you can eat on them till frost. So we'll see. Here we have the paprika peppers, these first four, those next two being jalapenos. Down here we have ground cherries or Aunt Molly's or Cape gooseberries. And this one here is doing well. This one is just never really has done much. That one over there is just getting riddled with bugs. And so is that broccoli right there. It's just riddled with bugs. Everything else is done pretty good. Pretty good. This is a pickling variety of cucumbers, so they won't get big. I saw several on here. Yeah, there's one. Starting to get a couple days. We'll be picking that one. Let me take you down and show you the gourds at the end of the road. I don't think I've shown you those in a while, maybe since we planted them. Okay, first things first here. These are about knee-high. These are the loofah gourds. And I'll be honest with you, they hadn't done much. They've been awful slow to take off. This is probably the best. We have 3 of them. That one may be thigh-high there. And they're being down this side, maybe they're a little more shaded. But this one here is in mainly sun, and it's done the least. Now I've never grown loofahs, so I don't know, but I just think maybe they want the hotter weather. I've heard that they sneak up on you. In other words, your loofah gourds don't look like they're doing nothing, and all of a sudden you got loofah gourds. I've heard that. Let's hope that's true, because right now they look kind of like dwarfs. We had 4 loofah gourds. We've got 3 now. One of them died just, I don't know, within a week of planting them up here. So I had a bunch of extra cucumbers. I was giving them away, so I stuck one up here, and the one I planted up here had a little sprout in the seed tray with it. And I said, that looks like a tomato. I'm just going to leave it. We'll see what happens. If it is a tomato, I'll tie it to the cattle panel. These cattle panels are about, I don't know, probably 5 foot. You can see how high it is on me. It's probably probably around 5 foot. Yeah, they're down a little bit lower than me. Anyways, so here's this cucumber that we planted up here. I think the cows have nipped on it a time or two. So there it is, and growing up. And then there's the, you can kind of see the little tomato plant coming up there. I don't know what kind it is. It looks kind of spindly, but it was tiny when we stuck it in the ground. Now here's what's impressive. We have 2 birdhouse gourds, and I'm telling you, within a couple weeks, they went from down there to growing to 5 foot tall, to putting runners on that probably go 5 foot in each direction. And these, there's one, here's the other here. And it's come up and kind of coming on. Here is the spaghetti squash. They were a little slower, a little further behind, but they have they've taken off the last couple weeks. I don't know if they're getting pollinated well. We may have to come back and pollinate them ourselves. But we've got 3 of them, and they're all doing okay. We've just had so much rain. I I can't tell you how much rain we've had. I can't tell you the kind of rain we had. We haven't had like light, gentle rains. I mean, the gnats are a result of 5 inches of rain and water everywhere. And that brings me back to a point I want to make before I get off here. One of the benefits of a raised bed is that your garden doesn't flood. A lot of gardens around here, their leaves are turning yellow. They're just not doing well, and it's primarily because they've had too much water and the plants are sitting in water. And one of the things about a raised bed, if you don't put a lot of heavily composted soil in there, you still, like I do, use river bottom dirt, which has a lot of sand in it. People say, well, you're losing water. Well, I'm losing it right below where I put it. So if the roots tap in down there, they'll be fine. But that sandy topsoil, that top 10 inches that I have, keeps my plants from flooding out. And it's probably why my garden looks as good as it does now. Not that it looks great, and yes, I could do a lot of work on there, and yes, those squash and zucchini need to be tied up, but for the most part, considering all the rain, all the storms, the hail, the tornadoes, the straight line winds, I think they said 90-mile-an-hour winds where my mom and dad live at. Anyways, to have a garden look as good as mine does, I'm tickled to death. And if we could ever get some normal weather, you know, like sunshine and stuff, kind of like we have now, for a week, I think we'd be slicing tomatoes and making pickles in no time. It just may not be a good spring for fishing for me. I went with the basketball ref. I might as well throw this in there because I know he got some great fishing footage, but it was just footage of me catching fish. So I caught some fish Saturday and beat him handedly. So, I mean, that'll be on the cutting room floor. That ain't ever going to make it to YouTube. The only way you're going to know about it is if I tell you I spanked the basketball ref Saturday in a little fishing tournament. So, anyways, there's that. Maybe I'll give you some flood footage come Thursday or Friday. We'll see what that river does. Now, I said that wasn't going to happen. I said we wasn't going to have chickens. Well, I kind of got to watching channels on chickens. My wife was like, we need some chickens. It's like, yeah, one of these days we're going to get us some chickens one of these days. And so they hatched out a bunch in her classroom where she teaches at school. And normally when they hatch them out, she sends them home with the kids, you know. Here, you take your mom and daddy's baby chick. And this year she didn't offer that. We took them. So we had, I think at one time we had 25. We culled one, lost one. Long story short, we got 20-something production layers in there. So, yeah. This may be a homesteading channel before it's all said and done. Oh, I got some mail. I'm going to show you some mail in the mail, and I wasn't expecting anything. And I didn't recognize the name. It was coming out of Georgia. So, I pulled out my trusty switchblade and cut around here and opened it up, and just as soon as I saw it, I'm like, I remember somebody promising me that. So when I saw it, I'm like, this is gonna make feeding the family so much better. This is gonna make clothing the family so much better. This is gonna make staying warm in the winter so much better. This is going to make basically everything in my life so much better. And I want to thank him for it. I got a skin and gambrel. I've been needing one of these for quite some time. Put a rope here, hang that from a tree limb or anything high up, and then you put a leg here and a hind leg here, and there you go. Holds it in place. Big enough that you could use it for a deer. Small enough you could use it for a coon. But perfect. Perfect. Thank you very much, Alan. Appreciate it. So we'll be seeing that this fall. Who's that from? So I got out my switchblade. Oh, well. So I got out my switchblade. So I got a package in the mail, and let me scrap all that.